The mules are in the corral. Welcome to Mule Talk, and I'm Cindy K. Roberts, your host. On this episode of Mule Talk, we have Meredith Hodges returning back to the show. She's a TV personality, a judge, and a mule trainer from Lucky 3 Ranch in Loveland, Colorado.
Great to hear from you.
Same here. How are we on time? Are you okay to have to talk?
I'm absolutely fine. I hope you had a Merry Christmas.
Oh, I had a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. How about you?
Oh, it was great. It was just great.
So
we celebrate Christmas. I'm threatening to do it all year.
I read that on your website that this is your favorite time of year, and yeah,
it definitely is. And with everything else that's going on, I kept watching Hallmark movies, and so then I would see things, decorations that we didn't have. So then we would herd it down to Hobby Lobby and go get more decorations every time we started to get depressed.
Oh, wow.
And now I'm just threatening to leave it up all year.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, it wouldn't be too bad because, the Hallmark Channel has that Christmas in July thing. So I thought, well, maybe I can have Christmas tours in July.
I like that. You are so creative.
Well, I got to keep my spirits up somehow, and my employees too, my staff, we're always looking for ways to keep the morale up and keep going forward.
There you go. I saw that you're building a new arena for therapeutic riding.
Oh, it's done.
Oh, it is done. Okay.
Yeah, we started that project 2 years ago, and it's finished, and it's absolutely phenomenal. It's actually the size of 2 arenas, so we can run multiple classes at once, and it's set up so we can separate. Actually, we can even separate it into 3 small arenas, so we can run 3 different classes at the same time. And it's got classrooms in there. We've got offices in there. We've got facilities for the horses, tack and groom area, tack room. We've got a whole room in there for all of the equipment for the riders and, like helmets and all those kinds of things and, extra boots and stuff for them. And we've got a kitchen. It's just a really beautiful facility. So I can actually send you some pictures of it if you like.
Oh, I'd like to see that because I would like to do an article about your program. And
that would be wonderful.
Yeah, and so this is set up for people and children with physical disabilities?
Actually, I started working with Hearts and Horses. See, that's a separate facility, and it's about 5 miles from me, 5 miles west of me, and they've got 27 acres out there. And I started with them 23 years ago. And when I first started, it was a small farm that was donated by a friend of mine that used to raise Morgans. And so they got started, and it was just kind of a really small facility with wooden barns, that were kind of falling down and everything, and really old houses and everything. And we have spent this last 23 years just building it up a little at a time. And we began with disabled riders. And then as we expanded the facility and things got pulled together, we also expanded our program. So we not only deal with disabled riders, we also deal with wounded warriors, veterans. We deal with at-risk kids, people with Alzheimer's. And we have a young kids summer camp that we have them come in and learn how to manage and train horses, and just all kinds of things. We've got a vaulting program out there now. So we just do a whole lot of stuff out there. And if you want to see all the different programs and pictures of the horses and all of that, you can go to heartsandhorses, all spelled out.org. And they've got just all kinds of things happening out there. We do fundraisers out there. They did, because of the COVID thing, they did a virtual fundraiser this year that was just phenomenal. And we raised over $300,000 for the nonprofit.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool. So
Yeah.
what does it take to make this program successful? I mean, there's a lot going on behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah, we have a fantastic crew, staffers that have been there as long as I have. And they're the paid staff and everything. And then we've got about 270 volunteers that come out there and do all kinds of different things. And then we also have a tax shop out there because a lot of times people will donate things that we can't necessarily use. We operate, on nonprofits. A lot of times they feel like they have to use the feed that's donated, for instance. But they've been consulting with me, and they've adapted my feed program out there. So what we do is we take the donations from people and then resell it, and then use the money to go ahead and buy the things that we really, really need to make the facility as good as it can be, to keep the horses healthy, to give the riders the right kinds of saddles to ride on, both English and Western, and to get the proper bridles and bits for the animals. And we use a lot of bitless bridles because, of course, the animals are being led and everything. But we do put reins in the hands of the riders and everything. And we've got sidewalkers out there that are volunteers that come out there. And the people that are out there are completely and totally dedicated to what they're doing. And because it's so well organized, and because we're using the right equipment, feeding the animals correctly, training the animals correctly, and doing all these things and not just trying to make it work, we're making it work the right way. People really enjoy coming out there and volunteering because they get as much from being there as the riders get from them being out there. And the people like interacting with the horses and cleaning the facility because it's so well kept. And we get into gardening and landscaping and everything to make the whole thing just a beautiful place to be. And that attracts people, and it also attracts donors because when they come out there, they see that their money is being well spent. And that is the biggest thing, of all. And that's what I used to tell them, I'll give you so much in donations, but I want to make sure that my money is being spent properly.
Wow.
And that has made a world of difference. And of course, we're members of PATH International, and we've been winning awards for the last 5 years with our volunteers, our animals that we're using, and with our staffers, the horse handlers and the horse manager, and that has won awards. We even had a mule win Horse of the Year.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so it was great. We've got, we had 3 mules out there. We had Katie and Sadie and Allie. And actually Brandy was out there too, but she didn't work out for the program, so they gave her back to me. And I still have Brandy, and that's fine. She was a little nervous.
Yeah.
It's just, sometimes it's like that. But they also have 2 donkeys that are working out there too.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so we really have a really happy program going out there, and people love to be there, and we're helping so many people. I don't know, have you heard of Amber Lee?
No.
She used to do rodeo and got in a car wreck and then got paralyzed and was in a wheelchair.
Oh, I thought her name was Amberly Snyder.
Snyder, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
yes.
Amberly Snyder we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And a couple years ago, she actually came out to one of our fundraisers and gave a speech out there to everybody.
Oh,
and
wow.
That was just wonderful. She is such an inspirational speaker.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
And that inspired our riders even more. And we have everything from really young riders, like 5-year-olds out there all the way to 95. And we even had one guy out there that was 100.
Oh, my.
Yeah, and they just do amazing things. It's a miraculous program, a miraculous facility. But we've spent, like I said, 23 years putting this together and just doing the right kinds of things to make it the place that it is today.
That's amazing how horses, mules, and donkeys, they give so much to people to heal them in so many ways. It's just
exactly right. And
yeah.
it is, you know, when the donkeys and mules came on board, that's when things started rapidly changing.
Oh wow.
You know, they accelerated the speed of, you know, of getting sponsors and donors and upgrading the facility and all of that because they did do things that really, really helped in a really short period of time, you know, and people were just falling in love with them. Everybody has their favorite special donkey or mule, you know, it's really funny.
That is wonderful. Now, we've talked before about mules progressing through the years, and you know, of course, we know that they've been treated like the redheaded stepchild. Mm-hmm. So, and we're all working so hard to get the proper recognition and respect for the mule. So, where do you see the mule going for in the future? What holds the future for the mule?
Well, in order to predict the future, you got to look at the past. And when I first began with mules with my mother in 1973, there were no mule shows to speak of. And we were just doing exhibitions. Diane Hunter exhibited her spotted donkey at the Olympics in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And so that was a long time ago. And the American Donkey and Mule Society was just a drop in the bucket by then. They had been in existence since 67. But when I got on board, I thought, you know, they were maligning mules. And you heard all those old sayings that stubborn as a mule, you got to hit them with a 2x4 and all those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. But I never believed that they couldn't be competent competitors in every equine event. And there was no such thing as a mule industry. There was a horse industry that was growing by leaps and bounds and had been around for a very long time.
Sure.
And the way I saw that was that could be a vehicle to test the mules in all the different events that I could get in. So I started with Gymkhana and rode barrels, poles, flag races, all of that kind of stuff. And I inspired people, you know, a few other people inspired people to start doing this with their mules. And so they also invented a whole lot of games that they could do in Gymkhana with their mules, like Monkey in the Tree, you know, and just fun stuff like that. And we did that for a few years. And then I was competing in horse shows, local horse shows, and some of them would accept the mules and some of them wouldn't. And at first I said, well, my mule is kind of horse, you know, I got very indignant about it. And I should put him in here, but I found over time that attitude really didn't get me very far.
Yeah.
And so I started taking a little different approach and just used good manners and said, well, I understand if you don't want me at your show, you know, but I would be willing to wait in the parking lot, and I really would be willing to not be in the ribbons if that's the case. I just want to compete and kind of just see where my horsemanship and my mule's performance is and gauge my own progress that way. That's what's really important to me. And especially when I get into judged events like English, Western Pleasure, and all the other English and Western classes that they offered, like Western Riding, Reining on the Western side, and Hunter Hack and Equitation and all those kinds of things. And I graduated to that. And then I even went on and found myself going down to the convention in 1984, the dressage convention, to try to get mules into dressage. And we did that, and of course they poo-pooed us down there. And I got back up here in northern Colorado and found that our groups up here were Rocky Mountain Dressage Society was very accepting and let me go ahead and train with them and compete with them. And then I eventually got into combined training, and it was the same thing. And as I was doing all these things, I didn't realize it, but I was inspiring people across the country to do the same thing. And so a lot of us, older people now, really started this mule industry building up into what it is today. We started with, there wasn't hardly 10,000 mules in the country that were being used like this. And now there's literally millions.
Yeah.
And, it's so I just feel so grateful to see what the mule industry has grown into, because I think our industry now is actually stronger because we did have to go through so many trials and tribulations to get our mules into the shows and everything, and to start up our clubs, from scratch, and to establish our rule books, our points programs and everything. We really had to work at it. And I think, when you do that and you put the time in to do these kinds of things and build them from the ground up, you don't tend to take it for granted when you get these things.
Exactly.
We've got so many riders out there doing so many wonderful things, and I'm so proud of Katie Wetland because she just got mules accepted by the Hunter Jumper Association.
Oh,
She's working on the United States Equestrian Federation now too, but she got them into the Hunter Jumper, Association just recently. And we've had people like Laura Hermanson riding at the Kentucky Horse Park in the dressage classes with the horses in the finals, and doing a beautiful job. And so, we're really doing really well. But when I talk to some of these old horse trainer friends of mine, they call me up and say, well, Meredith, have you got any ideas about what to do with the horse industry? It's kind of fallen down a little bit, and we're losing people and all of this. I flat told him, I says, well, you know what? You really need to pay more attention to the grassroots people and don't take them for granted. And you also need to share your information for free.
Yeah.
You can't be selling this stuff at such a high dollar that nobody can afford it. And that's the one thing about mule people that I have noticed is that, when I started showing my mule at the horse shows, it was, local shows were $5 a class. Now it's $50.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And so, that's where it needs to go. It needs to go back down. If you want to get people in your industry, you got to make it affordable for them. And mule people do that. And a lot of our shows are not expensive at all. And a lot of them you don't win money. You win, a ribbon or a halter or tack of some kind, tack and equipment, things that you can use. And I think when you take it from that standpoint, it encourages people to join with you, and it helps the industry to grow. And I know from this last year, it's been very, very difficult because we haven't been able to have our in-person shows. Although I do believe that equestrian shows can be very safe even in a pandemic, because you can socially distance, you can wear masks if you want,
Sure.
Personally, we haven't done that here, but and everybody's healthy. And I'm an ex-medical student, and I've got background information on that. But,
oh, good.
Yeah, but that's neither here nor there. I do think outdoor activities as a rule, and working with horses and mules and donkeys, is the healthiest thing you can be doing for yourself. And when we can't go to shows, we mule people are so creative that we find things to do.
Yes.
And even in the wintertime when the snow's on the ground and everything, I still go out and do groundwork with my animals just by virtue of liberty playing with them, playing games with them. And those are the kinds of things that help you to grow and help you to grow as a trainer and a rider. Because even when you're playing silly games like that, you're developing a really deep bond and a really deep relationship with your animal. And then when you do go and do something serious, they're more inclined to go ahead and listen to you and try to learn what it is you're teaching. If you're patient and you take your time and you break things down into small steps, you can do all of this. And then, I really do think they need to open up these horse shows and everything and keep going, and having these events. And if they want to keep people away from each other, fine, do it. It can be organized that way. When we ride in a class, we're 6 feet away from each other anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't see it as a problem, but I absolutely do see technology as a problem. And my rule of thumb here is that when I go out with my animals, I leave my phone in the house. Unless I'm on a trail ride, in which case I will carry it in my pocket, but I turn it off. It's only, in my estimation, a thing for an emergency.
Yes.
But what I have found that happens is if it's buzzing when I'm working with them, it breaks the bond between me and my animal. It breaks the lines of communication. And I know that, these people with technology I know they meant well. I knew that they thought when they developed these things that they would enhance communication between people and all of that. But it hasn't turned out that way. I think it's actually done the opposite.
Right.
And I think we're a whole lot better off when we're talking face-to-face to people. When we're writing letters to people that are at a distance, when we have the time to ponder what is said instead of reacting to what's in your face,
Sure.
And I think, technology has kind of dissociated ourselves from our really deep, heartfelt feelings that we can get with our animals if we are given the time to work with them and all that. And I'm a remote trainer. I use the internet to help people all the time, every day. That's what I do. I'm a member of over 50 groups on the internet. I watch the comments. I comment on the comments. I encourage people to email me, and I send them information all the time. And if what I send them doesn't really work or they're not getting it, I encourage them to call me. I will spend any amount of time with them sharing all the information. And then if they want to buy my products, they are certainly welcome to do that. But I give away a whole lot for free because I know that when people are unobstructed, then they're going to want to learn. And I think that's part of the reason that our mule industry is growing the way that it is because that's the way mule people, generally speaking, are. They share their information. They have fun with each other. They have fun with their mules.
Yes.
And, of course, the mules themselves keep us that way because if you try to get a little snobby or cliquish, they will feel compelled to humiliate you in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. And you speak by firsthand experience, I know.
Absolutely. I have been humiliated more ways than Sunday, I tell you.
Well, this is all good stuff, and it's very uplifting because the industry is growing and getting stronger. And it's just like you said, because of the founders and all of the stuff that they've gone through.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we've got these young people coming up that are also pioneering new ways, new ventures as well. They're taking mules into doing things that even the horse people don't do, I mean, mules, they will do absolutely everything and anything. And if somebody gets a hair to put on a show, we've even got a guy out there that I saw recently that is a Roman rider on 2 beautiful dun mules.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm watching this and I'm just floored to see mules doing these things. And of course, we know they're excellent jumpers. So they can put on all kinds of shows and exhibitions, for people. And that draws in spectators and grows the sport,
So what are you doing for New Year's?
For New Year's, I'm hoping that it isn't like 2020.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it gets better. And I'm hoping to be able to, have our tours come back into existence here because this is like the Long Ears Disneyland here. And I did this kind of on purpose. When I was growing up, the Kentucky horse farms for the thoroughbreds were just, they just jaw-dropping. They're so beautiful. And then up came the reiners and the cow horses, and then they had beautiful facilities. And I thought, they're always making fun of my mules, so I'm going to build a facility that is better than any of them for the mules. And that's what I had done here. And I started out, well, the first thing I had to realize is that if I was going to build pretty wood barns, my mules were going to eat them. So,
yeah.
Well, that was not something I thought I would do because I really didn't want to spend a whole lot of money on maintenance. So I slowly, this ranch evolved into an all-metal ranch.
Oh, good.
The fences, the panels I use are all steel. The barns are steel. I do have vinyl fencing that I put a hot wire on the top of it because I soon learned that the mules thought the fences were beautiful, and they really liked them. But when I built my first pen, I put up all the vinyl fencing and had 13 mules inside for the night. And when I came out, all the rails were on the ground all the way around. And the mules just say, "Thanks for the Tinker Toys. We love them." I thought, well, I can't have this. They didn't go anywhere. They just played with the rails.
Oh, that's a hit.
And so I pick them all up and put them all back, But then I put a hot wire around the top and said, "No, you're not going to do this every night. It's not happening. I'm sorry. We have to keep a beautiful place, guys." So what we've done, too, is we developed the Jasper Bunkhouse. We thought it would be really good for the kids because we have the Boys and Girls Club come out here every summer, and they come out for a tour. And so we did the inside of the Jasper Bunkhouse like you're walking into the Jasper books. It's all painted like the inside of the books in the red, the green, and the blue. And from doing our DVDs, we had a diorama, a small version of the Happy Valley Ranch that's in the book. And that's on display in the Jasper Bunkhouse with Bonnie Shields came out and painted a mural of the background of the Happy Valley Ranch on the wall. And then we have Jasper's living room, and we show little movies in there. And we've got Jasper and Moxie wallpaper in the kitchen. And the kitchen is like a corral. It's got a fence in there, and it's got bunnies down by the fence. And so the kids really have a really good time when they come out here, and so do the adults for that matter. And then we decided last year to put a Jasper carousel in the backyard. So we spent the last year building this wonderful Jasper carousel with Jasper and Valentine and Moxie and Okie Dokie the donkey on it. And we just finished it recently. We had the kids come out and ride it, and they loved it. They just love it. And then because we had so much time during this past year where we couldn't have people on tours, we also decided to build the old Western town. And because one of my employees said, you got that beautiful jumping statue right there on the back side of the equipment barn, but then you got this big brown empty wall. And he says, and it doesn't look good. And then you got concrete on both sides. And I told him, I said, well, the concrete is so we can rent grandstands, and in front of him is the exhibition arena. And my guy, Steve, says, well, don't you think it'd be really cool to build an old Western town front there? And I said, you know what? That's a darn good idea.
Wow.
So we did. We've got the undertaker. We got the church. We've got the bank. We've got the sheriff's office and the jail. And we've got the general store, the barber shop, the saloon, the bathhouse, the Long Ears livery stable, and the blacksmith shop. And I guess I should say the bank is called the Borough Bank.
Oh.
It's the Okie Dokie Undertaker. It's the long half-ass general store. It's a wild-ass saloon.
Oh.
It's B's Bathhouse, LJ's Barber Shop, and the Long Ears Livery. And then the town, we're calling it Aspen. Aspen.
I love it.
Yeah, and it's got all these windows in the buildings and stuff, and it's all wired for electric. And we didn't finish this part yet. But Robin Laws, the sculptor that did my commission on my champion statues, she was a painter, and I said, well, you need to do some paintings for these windows. And so we gave her Baby Doe, we gave her a Doc Holliday, Wyatt Earp, and Morgan Earp playing cards in the saloon. We've got people robbing the bank. We've got guys drinking at the bar. And we even put our crew in there. Bonnie Shields and I are in the livery stable with her mule and my mule.
Oh, wow.
And one of my girls is sweeping the sidewalk on the general store. Kristen's at the general store. My graphics artist and Robin Laws herself are upstairs in the saloon girls. My Christian social media guy and Jasper mascot, he and his wife are walking into the church. One of my guys is robbing the bank. Another one is in jail, filing his way out of jail. And so we've got these pictures being done that will go into the windows, and they will be lit up with the lights that we've got in the electric system. So they'll just pop. And then when we give the tours, we'll just give a history of the Old West.
Wow, that is really cool. Your imagination, it's endless.
Well, it's mine and my crew.
Okay, yes, that's good.
We just kind of do all this stuff, and it does keep us busy, and it does keep the morale up. And the nice thing is other people enjoy it so much. The thing that I missed the most this year was that we had a lot of tours that were seniors from assisted living places. And it just broke my heart to know that they were contained in those boxes for a whole year. Because when they come out here, at the beginning of the tours, we show a movie about how this place has evolved and what I do. And they come in and they're kind of down, depressed, and they've got mad looks on their faces. And then after the movie, I come in and I do like a mini clinic, and I talk all about my training program and how it works in a very general way. And most of the questions I get are, well, that will work on people too. Good manners and posture works on people too. And I say, yes, it does. And then they say, oh, but it takes so much to remember. And I say, oh, no, it really doesn't. All it takes is pointing your toes in the right direction that you're traveling in, and look where you're going, and the rest of your body will fall into place. And they go, oh, that's really cool. And then you see these smiles starting to come on these people's faces. And then I go, okay, now we've done this for half an hour. Now we're going to go out and see mules and statues. And they're all happy and everything. And we get people on oxygen and people in wheelchairs. And and we have carts, that we can drive people around in. And my one guy is a really tall, long-haired blonde guy that kind of looks like a Fabio kind of guy. And so the little old ladies fight with each other about who gets to sit next to Fabio in the carts. And Bonnie even did a painting about it, too. And they're hitting each other with canes, and mules are smiling, and the ladies are falling all over each other trying to get to Fabio, and some of the other ladies that don't ride in the cart that have wheelchairs, they have wheelchair races in the driveway.
Oh,
these seniors just go wild when they get out here. And it's so much fun. And they don't even want to leave, when it's time to leave. And they always look forward to their visits, And it's so much fun for us, too, because it just puts everybody in such a good mood. And we've been able to handle up to 75 people at once.
Oh, my. Wow.
Yeah, we've had mystery tours that come in here from Missouri, with their big buses and everything. And we can fit 75 chairs. That's our gauge. We can fit 75 chairs in the tack room where we show the movie in the tacking room area. And so that's how I limit the size of the tours. And I tell people we'll take everybody from 1 to 75 people, and we'll do it. And,
wow.
Yeah, and people that want to do tours, they say, well, why don't you go on the road and do clinics? And I said, if I went on the road to do clinics, I wouldn't be able to communicate with as many people, first of all, as I can on the internet. I can give you all the information you want on the internet. The other thing is people bring their own animals in, and it's my experience from having clinics here at the ranch with Richard Schrake. He brings in his clinic people. And one time we did an assessment on 10 people that were here with horses. And I couldn't pass any of the horses past stage 1, which is leading training. And people are not going to pay for a clinic when if they bring their horse and all they get to do is lead it. But that is where they need to start to get good postural balance and core strength and all that if you want to get the benefit of it. So I tell people I'm not going to go travel around the country to talk to 10 to 15 people and not be able to employ my program and not have them be able to see what the results of all this groundwork really is. But I can give the mini clinic when they come here on tour. I can explain about the program, how it works, so they understand it. They understand how it evolves slowly, so that when they go home, they can slow their ass down, so to speak, and put that 2 years in on that groundwork to get 5 to 10 years of use life on the other side, And then after I've given the speech, I can actually take them out and see my animals, and they get to see the results of the program. And the beauty of it all is these are not young animals. They are rescues, and they are animals between the ages of 25 and 30.
Wow.
So and there is not a hint of arthritis in their bodies. They look like they're 9, 10 years old, and so people can actually see the results of my program when you actually take the time to go through it on the timeline that you need to do it to get these kind of results. And it really, really works. And the rescues that I have here, I go ahead and do diaries and document everything that I'm doing with them. And right now my project is a large standard painted donkey Janet named Chastity, and she came in here obese with a huge crest on her neck, and she's got a bad conformation anyway. She's very high in the back and low in the front, and she was kind of a mess when she came in. She had a bacterial infection in her udder that was just terrible. It's taken me all year to get rid of that. But every time I work with her, I go ahead and I write something. We take pictures, we take video, and then I go ahead and post the pictures on my website and on Facebook when I do them. And what happens is that you can go on my website under training, and this one, for instance, is Chastity's Challenges. And you can look down there and you can see the diary. You can scroll all the way back to the beginning, and it shows you every step that I have taken with this animal, and you get to see the evolution of the animals. I did that with the draft mules. I did it with Wrangler, my other large standard gelding donkey, and he's got Wrangler's donkey diary in there.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
that's
and
cool.
when I got my mini donkeys, I did the same thing with them, and theirs is called Another Augie and Spud's Adventure. And so I've got all those. And then the other thing, I shoot the video so that later I can do a documentary. And right now I'm stacked up with documentaries. I just finished Rock and Roll Diary of a Rescue, the one I sent to you.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and the next one that we're doing right now is creating the Jasper Carousel. All about Bonnie Shields, all about my crew and how we built this thing. And then we're going to do another one on hay production. We've got another one about how to build the old Western town, how we built the old Western town. I have the scripts in the works already. As we do these things, as we shoot the video, as we take the photographs, I go ahead and start the scripts and add to it as we do these things, so that by the time we're ready for the documentary, the scripts are already written and the film and the photographs are already shot. So it's just a matter of going through and and finding the right shots for the script and sticking it in there and finding a narrator and digging up the music to put in there. And so we're always doing something. And in my mind, I'm obsessed with mules. I mean, I'm just totally obsessed with mules, and I learn something new with them every day. And so I don't think I will ever run out of information to share with people.
Yes.
In the beginning, I think people might have thought that I was kind of a know-it-all and just trying to tell them what to do and everything. But I've tried to get them to realize that there is so much to learn that you'll never know it all.
Right.
And that my main purpose for doing all of this is to give people the information, share the information with them so that they can enjoy their animals as much as I enjoy mine. And it just helps you to get through the hard times when you do that.
Oh, sure. You know, Meredith, I want to thank you for coming on. We're running short on time. So
sure.
And I just love visiting with you. So tell us again your website and your phone number.
My website is at www.lucky3ranch.com, and that's all spelled out, not the number 3. And my 800 number is 800-816-7566.
You are awesome, lady.
Well, you're pretty awesome yourself, and I'm so glad you're doing this podcast.
Oh.
Because you're sharing information, too, that needs to get out there, and doing it with a lot of different people and getting us all connected, and that's really, really important, you know?
Yeah, thank you. And I'll have you back on. We'll talk again next month.
Sounds good.
Okay. The perfect gift for your mule friends is Metal Art by Sandy. Sandy has captured the beauty and unique style in all of her metal artwork. Sandy carefully handcrafts your metal art to the likeness of your mule, donkey, or horse. Orders are promptly created by Sandy, wrapped, and then shipped. Want a ranch sign crafted for your driveway or barn? Metal Art by Sandy. Go to metalartbysandy.com. Metal Art by Sandy is also on Facebook. If you'd like to be a guest on the show or a sponsor, send me an email, Cindy, Cindy, at everycowgirlsdream.com. Gotta go. My mule is looking for me.